Hello and welcome to the Naren Agarwal Show, folks. Today's episode is going to be filled with love, a lot of relationship coaching and learning about how we can be better in our relationships and love. With me, I have a dear friend who I met all the way at the ashram when I went there for 7 months. He had also come from this experience. My friend Vinoth Elil. He is a relationship and love coach, and I'm so excited to get into this conversation with him. Folks, he is currently sitting in the city of love, so who more appropriate to learn from? Folks, welcoming Vinoth on the show. Vinoth, how are you doing, brother?
Yes, my bro. Thank you very much to welcome me here. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I'm really well, really
Uh,
well.
you're all the way in Paris. I don't know how do you say
Paris,
Paris.
it's good. Paris.
Paris. Nice, man. It's so great to know you. By the way, guys, Vinod has a very interesting history. Vinod, do you want to share a little bit about where your family is originally from and like all the way and how you're currently in Paris and that journey quickly, just because I remember having this conversation with you and I think people will find it very interesting.
Yeah, so I am French. I born here. I grew up here, and I'm living here. But my parents are Sri Lankan Tamil, so that's why I can speak Tamil also. So that's good.
English,
And my
French, and Tamil. Wow.
and Spanish, you can add it. But the idea is my parents moved out from the country because of that war. There was a genocide between Sinhalese people and Tamil people. So every month they were moving from house to house because every house was bombarding. They were bombarding they were receiving bombs into the garden. So they were moving. And one day the entire family decided to find a place in Europe. So one of my uncle landed in Paris. He found it well. So he was staying here. And one by one, all my aunts and uncle came. My dad was hesitating to come in Germany because there is still some family. And then they choose France for the better. And finally we are here.
Yeah.
I born here and it's amazing, bro.
Wow. Of course, like you have a very unique upbringing in that sense, right? You have a family, a culture, and heritage from a totally different continent, but you've grown up and you are French in that way. And so it's a very interesting mixture and amalgamation of cultures that you're going through. It's 21st century of globalized world, and you're a true example of that.
Exactly. And to be honest, it's not that much easy, bro. every every big topic, like every big step of your life, finding a girl, getting married, even moving out from the house, every big topic for one man who is growing up is a kind of trouble with the parents because the two culture are really like fighting each other to find which way is the better, and parents want to have the same thing as they had in the country over there, and we grew up with a completely different culture, really much open-minded, and it's like it's not that much easy, but we fought for that. We are the first generation to do that, and it's for the best also. So yeah.
And it's amazing. Every time I've seen you, you had such a big smile on your face, and even this struggle you're saying, it's with a smile. I love it, man.
Of course. Life is smile. There is no struggle. It's only step, challenge to be better.
Correct. Wow. Vinod, I want to get into this conversation with you, my brother, about relationships and love. So, if I were to ask you, what is relationship and what is love?
I think if to be honest, now, like before, I had a lot of explanation to talk about love and relationship and everything. Now, from the time I knew, I got it. I got one thing. Every relationship and every kind of explanation and meanings of love is based on what I will tell you now.
Hmm.
Love is life. So for a human being, love is a state. Okay. Love is not an emotion. And the most of the people misunderstood love because of Disney, animes, movies, Bollywood movies, American movies. Because of all this conditionment, we grew up with that thought that love is depending upon something or someone. It's completely wrong. So when you really understand what I am saying to you, it's love is a state. That does mean when you understand that you can be loved without absolutely nothing or no one. When you know that love is a state, it's really the life who is inside and around you. When these lives become love, you can love absolutely everything the same manner, in the same way. And I am not telling you that because it's like it's spiritual or all the yogic are saying that. I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you that because I was really involved in many relationships, in many things. Like I've experienced many things, and that's why I'm really good in this job. But one day when I just started meditating, one day I really deeply experienced this unicity, this oneness. And that day I was looking looking at a wall, okay, a real wall, like a wall, okay, and I felt the same love that I felt with my ex-girlfriend and all my relationship with my dad, my mom. I felt exactly the same thing. I think it was even more powerful. Okay. So when I've experienced that, from that moment, I've understood that we all misunderstood love. And because of that, many issues, many trouble about relationships came. When you get what I'm telling, every relationship will change. You will shift your perception of the people in front of you, and you will understand that love is depending on only upon you, not upon who is in front of you.
Wow, that's real deep. That's real deep, bro.
That's deep and that's true. So to be honest, when you are asking me what is love, or yeah, how can we define like what is the meaning of relationship or love, I can tell you, as you know, life is love. There is no life without love. Okay. So when you know life is love and love is a state, so when you are alive, that does mean you are love. When you are love, you can be in relationship with one human being, like one tree, one wall, one object, anything. And it can sound really spiritual, but in the real life, when you really live with this conscious of this idea, we can say idea for people who don't know it, of this feeling, of this state, trust me, every relationship becomes just natural. Like there is no meaning for one relationship. What is one relationship? It's not one human with another human. It's not that. One relationship, it's how I can behave with what I have in front of me. Relationship comes from your state. Okay, this state, what you will do with this state. If it's love, you can have relationship. If it's hate, if it's anger, okay, you will have a different kind of relationship. You know what I mean? When you are angry during the day, everything goes wrong
Correct.
because the relationship with the life, with the object, with the people change because the energy change. So relationship, it's not, there is no, I think there is no one specific meanings, because scientific or psychological people will say, yeah, it's one human, another human, or several humans. And when there is a connection, there is relationship. No, relationships, love means you are in a certain state and something's happened in front of you. And what happened depend upon which kind of state you choose to be.
Wow, that's a really different explanation. What I really took from that is that love is actually a state of being, not an emotion. So you can choose to be in that state. Maybe it's a state just like high energy or low energy. It's a certain state that you enter and put yourself into. And you're saying when you're in that state, then anything that comes in front of you, you will naturally relate well with it. But if you're in a state of anger, then anything that comes in front of you, you will naturally relate in a way that it's not ideal, maybe for
Exactly.
through interaction. Brother, it brings an interesting point to me when you said, relating with even an object and having a relationship with an object. I never really thought about this because in the modern world, we're only talking about, one human being with another and maybe two pets to some extent. But it makes me realize, like, I think in traditional India, I saw people like, let's say if there's a woodcutter, in the morning, he'll come and bow down to his axe. He's like kind of
Yes.
in this relationship with his object where he's bound down, or I know some drivers like who do that as a profession. They will do like
Yes.
offering and puja to their car and they will like they almost have a relationship with this object that they have, which we never think of, which is very interesting.
Yes, because there is even one event in India, one specific day to bow down in front of all your objects, put some
Correct.
colors
Vishkarma
and
puja,
everything.
you worship all the machines and worship
Exactly.
all the tools that you have.
Man, when I came to know that this event was existing outside of Europe, because I grew up here, I was like, they got it, they understood. Because I don't know the exact word in English, but everything is energy, right? So and I cannot enter deeply into that because I've experienced a mystical thing when I was, um, without going too far, playing with some material things, okay, with my energy. So when I have experienced that, I came to know that even an object can be animate, it can be alive. So of course, all the atoms, we can say atoms, the
Correct.
cells atoms,
Correct.
yeah, all the atoms inside an object can be changed by your perception, by how you are looking at this thing and which kind of emotion you are putting into. There is a lot of new science who came to explain really deeply this thing. So if people really want to know, they can go, and I can even advise Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza is a really famous
Correct.
neurologic and scientist and everything. So they can even read those books. I am telling, I've experienced this thing. So of course, it's amazing to see how people can bow down in front of a machine, because this machine also, even if it's look like inert, if it's look like like not dynamic, inside everything is dynamic. So if you are intense enough and deep enough in your relationship, even with something, you can choose to change the way to see this thing, and you can choose to change this thing. I think it's already happened between people. Like, I think many people have experienced that when I'm behaving good with someone, these ugly people become beautiful. I think all the people have experienced that.
So
I
true.
am just, sure. So I'm just telling that the same thing can happen for object. And of course, you have to be more deep and more intense. But I am telling you, I'm not fool. I'm telling you, it's true. So yes, with object, you can feel the same thing as you are feeling for your mom.
Wow. That's crazy, and that's a really big food for thought. It's about generating it
Yeah,
from within rather than depending on the outside or the without.
exactly.
Other, I want to get into a more focused conversation about coming to human and human relationships, because now in
Okay.
the modern world, that's what we are a lot struggling with.
Yes, of course.
Communication, etc. And you said, you've had your experiences with relationships. What are some of the biggest struggles that you see people having in human to human relationships these days?
I think one of the big struggle is I am not able to find, that is, I am related to what they are saying, okay? I am not able to find someone for me, you know?
That's so true. I heard that so many times. Yes.
You're right, okay? So, because, no, that's true. Yeah, I think it's worldwide, because people think that there is someone in this world who is matched with you. He is made to match with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if we go further into that, every relationship start with this feeling. Oh, this guy is made for me because we have this point in common. We are sharing the same activity, or we are sharing the same thought about this thing. This guy is also doing yoga, me too. So there is matching. People think that uh, just because we are sharing same activity or same part of your life or of idea of thought. Anyway, we are sharing something, we can match. So when something's happening in the relationship, oh please, Vinod, I think this guy is not made for me finally. So please, I don't know why I entered into that, but now I am only struggling. I'm only thinking about how can I get out of this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and it's a kind of cyclical thing. It's a samsara. It's a kind of it's a kind of every time you enter into a relationship, you think that it's best for you, it's good, and I found it. I found a good one, and after sometimes, what I'm doing with this guy, what I'm doing with this girl,
Correct.
she's really not for me. Why? Because people before to start something, people think that someone will be more than 50% like accurate to what they really want in their life.
Correct.
Yeah. I have another vision, completely other vision. And from 5 6 years when I'm in coaching, I am coaching and working on this thing, on this, what I will tell you. The thing is, I am just making people understand that there is no one perfect, maybe there is, but the idea is you cannot count on this. There is one specific guy in this world, and I know I can find it one day, you know. Maybe you are not intense enough to find this guy, so you will go through your life and never see this
Ideal person that you created in your head.
exactly, you know, like how in French we call that âme sœur, you know, like it's a kind of soulmate. Exactly. So
Soulmate.
exactly, so people are thinking that everybody has a soulmate, and this soulmate is in the same area, you know, like, and one day we'll find this guy, you know. People are thinking like that.
Yeah.
I'm just telling people, I don't want to destroy your idea, but I'm telling you, maybe there is, but to find this guy, the idea is not to restrain yourself, not to decrease all your personality because you are in search of something. I'm telling you, be more. Like, I am working, even sometimes I'm working with couples, okay, with childrens and everything. But when I'm working with that wife, I'm working only with her. Then when I'm with the husband, I'm working only with him, because the idea is, when there is an issue in your life, in your relationship life, and if this issue is still the same and you faced again and again this issue, already in your past you faced this issue, that does mean more than 50% of faults, you know, are into you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if you want to change your life and don't go again into the same cycles and cycles, you have to understand that more than 50% it's upon me. Okay, so I have to work to be better at least more than 50%. Like that, I will have more chance to have a successful relationship with someone. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So then I can tell you exactly what I'm working on, etc. But it can be like more long. But
Correct.
the idea is even if your husband, and I worked a lot with narcissistic perverse, this kind of people. So I worked with a lot of women who gone through a lot of narcissistic perverse or something like that. In French, it's pervers narcissique.
Okay. Yeah.
So I work with a lot of these women who has been really like, some people has been raped, kidnapped, many really, in
Bad things.
deep and bad things. And I am telling you, it can shock people, but I am telling that even with these peoples, I worked with themselves. I am telling to this kind of people, if this thing happened to you, there is something inside you who made this guy choose you, a kind of victim's energy. Okay, so keep waiting. The idea is, it's not the fault of this girl. Of course, if she has been raped, of course she hasn't asked that. Okay, I'm not telling about raping like like once in a while. Okay, I'm telling about when you are with someone and this guy is really bad, is really really like nasty
Abusive in
with
the
you. Okay.
relationship. Exactly.
Yeah, this kind of rape I'm talking about. Even with this kind of rape comes into your relationship, the idea is what you are spreading, what you are, the way you are behaving, even the small attitude, the small act, the way you move your hand, your head, everything play a role in this guy's mindset. And every girls I worked with, okay, has never been into a new relationship with a narcissistic perverse. Why? Because I just changed the way they were behaving. And when you becomes more, for this specific example, okay, when you become more strong, when you become more loud, I mean, you want to tell something, you tell it loudly, you put more volume, you level up something. When you become more you, when you love more yourself, you become more you. When you become more you, you express more yourself into your relationship. When you work on all these things, the same guy can stop the same behavior he was doing during many years, because you are not spreading this energy of, okay, I can be your victim, I can be your object. So I can't work with narcissistic perverts. So the only one thing I can do is change the girl I have in front of me. And when I am doing that, I am entering deeply. When I say deeply, it can be really stop moving your hand like that, moving like that, move it like that. Because the way the guy is looking, the smooth movement can be in his mind, smooth means weak. So I am working in this weakness. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you cannot give general advices. You have to be really focused on each relationship you are working with. And that's why one relationship, I can't give the same advice to from one to one. But I am give you examples that I faced. And trust me, one relationship can be really bad for one person if she's not loving themselves, because she will give everything. She will give, like, it's good to give everything, but she will give without knowing, without be conscious about that. And when you do that, you become a slave. When you become a slave, you can go through many many horrible things. So that's why I faced many things. I had a lot of, like, I can say mostly people are coming to me because they face the same issue during their entire life, and they know that they have something to change in themselves, and they are coming to me for that, to change really something in themselves.
Stuck in a pattern. They're getting into the same kind of relationships and same kind of issues again and again.
Exactly.
Whoa, that's very interesting. Bro, you said you also work with couples sometimes. Maybe a couple, they're not being able to carry forward their relationship as well as they want to. And then they come to you together, for help and advice
Yes.
on how to improve
Yes.
relationship. And this is a different equation, right? One part is when somebody is really struggling and they come to you personally for help. And then the couple comes. So when the couple comes, how is that different? And what plays out? Do the differences become big when you start living with each other in the beginning? You're seeing all the things that are similar, but as you keep living or going together, you start seeing the differences and they become big. And how do you align couples to, like, maybe have a more cohesive relationship?
Okay, first of all, you have to know that here in this culture in France, all the men's are really struggling to come to a relationship coach. There is this kind of male ego
Ego,
who
correct.
is, yeah, this male ego is telling you, oh, you don't need that, you can lead your wife, you can lead your family as you want, you are the boss. There is this kind of idea. So
Correct.
that's why I really had more, at least I can say 95% of women into my job. But yeah, I had some couples, and even in these couples, I had to be really touchy with how I am speaking with the wife and how I am speaking with the guy.
Yeah.
Because if in front of the both of them I am telling, okay, it's up to you, man. You can change everything. It's like I am putting everything into him, and he can be like, like why I came here is not, you know what I mean. So that's why usually when I face a couple, I have the first interview when I am like globalizing everything. I want to know the entire story. Why do you think you came here? Because sometimes they are thinking something, but it's not at all the true in the reality. Like really, sometimes they made up something into their mind and they came with that. So I'm like, okay, I can feel it's not that. So I globalize everything. Then I work one by one. Okay, and sometimes when it's really necessary, when they need to step up, or like something has to be crossed, I am getting them together
Yeah.
and I'm working on one specific thing. But usually it's one um, meeting together, all together, then individuals, and then at the end few meetings together. And how I am working with couples is very like hard, because if you come with your wife, take you as an example, okay? If you come with your wife, that does mean you you are making these efforts
Correct.
to, like to
Improve.
correct,
Yeah.
yeah,
Correct.
your couple. So that does mean you are already sacrificing your ego, you are sacrificing the idea that you can be the saver and everything.
Correct.
So you already come with a kind of, I made a lot of efforts, so please coach, do something.
Correct.
So
You're
they came
already
with it.
mindset of learning, receiving, and improving. You're already
Exactly.
open to doing new things and listening to new things. Because opening is such a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And they are coming with that. So I am just trying to make them understand that of course there is 50-50, like faults, I can say.
Correct.
Okay.
Relationship responsibilities, half 50.
Responsibilities, exactly. It cannot be, if you came together, it cannot be like there is 100% and 10 and 0. If not, you know what you need to fix and you can do it alone. So
Correct.
if you come with that, my thing is, what did you do, girl, and what did you do, guy? you know Need to understand first why they did that. Because, okay, let's take an example to be more clear. Sometimes, okay, one day I had one guy who cheated on his wife. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So we can say it's 100% and 0, but it's never like that. Even if someone cheat on you, the thing is, why did he do that? Of course, it's not good. Of course, it's not because of you.
Yeah.
But there is small things who pushed him to do that. So first, I am taking the wife and telling her that it's not your fault. Of course, nobody, if you trust about loyalty and you don't want that because it's a rule. If in your relationship there is this rule, don't cheat, and he did, of course it's not your fault. But I'm gonna tell you that you played a role into this thing. And to do not have the same situation in your future, we're gonna fix this thing. Okay. So first I'm working on this. Like that, the behavior of the wife will be new during the treatment, during the therapy of this guy. Okay. So we work on this girl, we fix the issue, and then I'm working with him. And with him, I faced, for example, one day I faced the guy just wanted to play. Okay, like he was immature, he was not ready for this relationship. Okay, so I was pushing him, like not pushing, but poking him, I can say, to make him understand that maybe he was not ready for her. You know why I did that? Because if I push you to make you understand that you are not ready for this amazing wife, there is only two options. Either you leave, you quit because you need to play and you need more girls. So it can be good for the both of you. Of course, you're going to struggle and this cry, okay. But after sometimes you're going to understand that it was the best choice. First option. The second option is the maturity will grow up really fast. the guy will really understand really fast that, okay, if he want to keep this wife, he cannot continue playing and having the wife at the same time. So she caught him, okay, so he cannot avoid it. But the idea is, if this thing happen again, it's gonna be over. So he can try, to cheat again, but of course she gonna know. Of course she gonna know. So that's why the guy usually, either it can be the first option, I'm leaving, or it can be, okay, I really have to work on myself to become more mature, we can say, like to stop playing, why I am playing, understand why I'm still like that. Maybe I have a trauma, so we're going to work on that trauma. Maybe it's related to your parents, so we're going to work on this, or to your ex-girlfriend, she cheated on you, so you don't trust in love, so you do that. Like, it can be many things, but the idea is what you are ready for. Are you ready for this amazing woman, or do you want to just do your life on your side? In both cases, good. In both cases, the both of them will have an amazing life. But this guy have to choose. And my role is, I am like pushing
Facilitating
him
this
to
process.
choose.
Exactly.
Exactly. The
And bro,
worst
that's
thing is
so
be
true.
ignorant.
I heard this from Steve Harvey. He's also into relationships. He's an American TV host. And he says, men don't make a choice unless like you sometimes unless you put the hard line, like it's either this way or that way. This is how a lot of
I
men
know.
are. you know and it's great that you said, like, what when you said it rang a bell in my head, like, yes, that's so true. Like, if you push somebody, they have to make a choice, then they'll make a choice, and either way it's more clarity for both parties. So that's very interesting, bro. Brother, I want to talk about trauma. You mentioned trauma. What's the role of
Yes.
trauma, childhood, or past experiences that play out, and how do they play out in like the relationship you're currently in? Like, I've heard people say like you're actually living the past right now in your relationship in many ways. So, what's your comment on that?
I have, unfortunately, it's not in French, because in French I have the specific and exact word to explain that. So I'm going to try in English, okay? And if you are not understanding, even if you are not getting 1 point, please tell me. I really want to make people understand after this interview how it works, because this thing's gonna help a lot of people, really a lot. You need to understand how the brains work, okay? We grew up with the brain. The brain is a muscles, okay? So this muscle is growing up till 1 point, okay? In terms of volume or in terms of density, of neuronal density. So even now we can add more neurons or suppress more, okay?
Correct.
So you can become absolutely a new person right now. It's hard to do it right now, but the idea is you can, okay? You
Yes,
can.
exactly. Theoretically, you can by changing all your neural patterns, etc. Exactly.
Exactly. So one trauma, what does mean one trauma? One trauma means in my past life, when I was not in a state of being conscious or of being aware of what is happening to me. A trauma means that. Trauma means something's happened in my life. I was not really conscious about that. And now I am living according to this trauma. Okay. Trauma means that. So trauma means something's happened to your life. Okay. And you, unfortunately, was not aware that you are carrying this trauma. So you start a relationship with an empty space into your mind. For uh, I have to take an example, because it's going to be too blurry.
Correct.
Let's say one. Okay, let's say a simple thing. My first relationship, and it happened for me also. So let's take my example. My first relationship, my first girlfriend, I really wanted to, like, one woman man, one man woman, like I really wanted to finish my life with her. I had 15, 16 years old. I really wanted her to be my wife and do everything with her, especially my first time. Okay. So the thing is, she did it with someone else while she was with me, because she was thinking that I did with someone else. Okay. Because of this thought, she did it, but not me. I was really clear with myself. Okay. So when this thing happened, this thing literally literally, physically, bro, I'm telling you, physically, it was one of the most painful pain that I felt in my life.
Right.
Okay. While I've lost friends and everything, but I'm telling you, I was so involved in these things and so juvenile, so young, that when these things happen, I was completely broke from inside and physically. So when these things happen, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not like that, but maybe I have to be like that. Many thoughts was coming, like maybe I have to be with her and take my revenge, like by doing the same thing with someone else, but only after some times like that it's going to be painful, like when you are broke, you are thinking about many weird things and nasty things. So after some times, like this relationship, by the way, last for 8 years, okay, 7 8 years. I was still like, no, you can be the one. I won't give up because of this thing, I was still putting my heart into that. And then I've understood that after 8 years, I was like, no, it's really not for me. So the thing is, I grew up with this thing, okay? Like I was not, oh, I was aware that I suffered, and my relationship lives will be more hard, but I was not aware that this thing is playing an unconscious role into my mind. So after 8 years, I started a new relationship, okay? And in this new relationship, all the fears I had during my first relationship, because I've been cheated on. So all the fears was coming without, like, I was not I was not knowing that. I was just behaving like, for me it was Vinoth. I am naturally like that. So for me it was me. I am not really aware except if someone from outside was telling me. So in my relationship, my ex-girlfriend was telling me, no, man, you cannot be like that. I can have friends. I was like, yeah, you can have friends. But if this guy is doing this thing, that does mean he want to sleep with you. And I don't want that. I was so fearful that I was not really free. I was not fine with myself first.
These were subconscious
So
patterns going on from your past relationship being projected now, thinking that the same thing might happen. So you're behaving as if it was going to happen and trying to protect.
exactly, still going on, like all the time. And it's because it's there all the time that you don't know it's there. When it's constantly here, if
So
it was just one fear, you know what I mean? If it was one fear, sometimes once in a day, you can be like, oh, I need to work on. But when it's constantly here, this
yeah,
fear is constant. You're like, of course you cannot catch this
true.
guy because this guy gonna will want to sleep with you. Like it's so accurate. So like, of course you can do that.
So true. This is such a good point, man. Sometimes like people have backache. If it's chronic all the time, they're used to it. They're
Yeah,
used to the backache.
yeah,
So you're
of
not even
course.
aware they have a backache. So that's
And
so
they do their life. So that's the same thing. But the thing is, when it's mental, you can really not feel it. So it was there. Okay, let's finish this example. It was there, and I screwed this relationship also. I think I was like one of the most, like, the main reason. Okay, so after that, I really started healing. I really started heal from all my trauma, because, and during that therapy, during that healing, I've understood one thing. A trauma, scientifically, a trauma means, into your brain there is different area, okay, once where the engine will send all message to all other areas, okay, and one area is for emotional side. Usually you are taking the treatment of information here, okay, and then you are sending like emotion side, everything, like there is many sides, and in English it's hard for me, so let's keep it simply. Like, the area of emotions, okay, I'm gonna simplify these things, okay, but if people wants, they can come to me, I can explain it like better, but I'm gonna simplify. The area of emotions or of fears, okay, can have less neurons. So if in one area of your brain you have less neurons, that does mean, what will happen, the information will come, like, okay, I am with an amazing girl, and she have a lot of boyfriend, like friends, male, okay, So the information will come. Okay, she has some friends, etc. And instead of being the the neuronal path, we call that a neuronal path. Instead of being really clear and normal, like okay, she has friend, okay, she go to party, okay, she gonna come back at that time. It's okay, finish. Instead of doing of having this simple path, you have a different path from all the other people. It's like it's coming to this area of emotions, and into this area, okay, it miss some neurons. So what your path will do, it's gonna try to create something. Okay, you cannot choose something which is already existing. You're gonna get to create. At that moment, you can only create based upon what you already lived. So if in your past you have lived only trauma, only bad relationship, only fear, only depression, like if you have more negativity, the path will choose something negative. Something like you're gonna create one neuron, but a negative, let's say, I am simplifying, let's say a negative path. So you're going to create these things based upon your past. And then at the end, when you come out of this area, everything looks fine because all the other area are healthy. So you finish this path on all other area, you finish the neuronal path, and you're like, I'm true. You cannot catch up with this guy. Of course. It's like it's of course. So the thing is, people have to know that you can only create, you can only think, let's say think, not create, you can only think based upon what you lived. And when you understand that you have a trauma and you need to work on new things, there is different way and different methods, but you have to become a new you. You cannot heal from your trauma by being on the same experience and area and environment that you have been during this trauma. You cannot do that. People think that one trauma means I have only this thing to work on. No, 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 no. You have to change your personality because into your brain, the path is already created. You are already every day choosing the negative side. So to choose this new side, you have to create new neurons. To create new neurons, you have to change. Wake up not every day on the same side of your bed. Wake up on that other side. Change your morning routines. Change the way you are speaking with people. Change everything because everything will create new neurons. And when your brain is used to create new neurons on that unhealthy area, it's gonna be more easy to create new neurons. So when you create new neurons on that unhealthy area, at the end, you're gonna become someone else, and not someone else that you have already experienced, but someone else that you choose to be in your future. People have to know, and this is a real, not my conclusion, but the main sentence. People have to know that they can only think based upon what they have lived. You cannot think about something new because you cannot create the new just with your thought. You can create only with meditation, yoga, working on yourself, therapy. Like you can only create when you enter deeply into you. You cannot create only with your thoughts. So if you know that your future will be based only on what you lived into your past, you will be a slave of your past. And you will be the same guy going through the same patterns, to the same cycles for his entire life. To avoid that, they have to understand that they have to become new. They have to do new things. They have to surprise themselves in many things. And only when you start to do this new gymnastics for your brain will start to create a new path. And when you start to create a new path and you are focused on positivity, on how to be better, you are working on yourself, on, I don't know, you are like conditioning yourself with videos of amazing people, amazing coach, amazing. Only when you do that and you put information like positive information, your brain will choose the positive path. And at the end, you become someone else and you create a new future and not a known future, you know?
That's amazing. That's deep. What an explanation, my brother. Wow, wow, wow.
I
That's
hope it was clear with my
phenomenal.
English, but yeah.
Phenomenal. No, I think you did a great job, even with your English. That was amazing, man. What a beautifully way to explain what trauma is, how the brain works when you're going through trauma, and then what are some things. Of course, the time is limited, so you can only share some things. But what are some things people could do to alter the trauma?
And I want to add one point, just like regarding my way to work.
Yeah.
I am working really differently from a psychological, a therapist, and etc. Because I've understood one thing: when people needs help, they need to be constantly in touch with someone, or I mean, constantly in touch with the change. Okay, when you go to a psychotherapist, it can be the best of the all time. If you need a constant back and forth, it's going to be like longer for you, because you're going to see your therapist only once in a week or once every 2 weeks. But between these two appointment, what is happening? So that's why when I was working, because I am really doing less relationship coaching, but when I was really working hard and I had a lot of coach, I was always in touch with them. I was in touch in WhatsApp, then I was seeing them and everything, because people can easily fall down. If you are not following them, they are like making some efforts. Oh, my coach told me that. And after a few days, they are forgetting, or they are coming back into their relationship or their work. And the boss is like harassing you. So you're like, oh, my life is not good. You forget. Then when you see your therapist or your coach, you're like, oh, it's not. And it's going like that. To go really quick, they have to be every day working on themselves. Every day. Really. They have to understand that being new is a hard work. But if you want that, keep it short, you have to to do it every day.
Wow. Just like our daily yoga kriyas that we're doing.
Exactly,
Okay, power of
exactly.
consistency, man.
Same thing.
Love it. Vinod, my brother, it's been a great conversation with you. You left us with a lot of food for thought, a lot of things that I never thought about, and some very interesting tips on relationship, trauma, and how you can do better. Thank you so much for being on the show. Pleasure talking to you.
You're welcome, my bro. Thank you very much for welcoming me. It was my first interview in English. I already coached people from all around the world, but interview in English. So thank you to be the Adi interviewer.
You did a great job, man. Cheers.
Thank you. It was with pleasure. I hope it helped a lot of people. Thank you, bro. Thank you to do that for people also.